What's up, everybody? Hey, Tom Laird here, host of the Advice from a Call Center Geek podcast and founder of Expivia. For exceptional contact center outsourcing, trust Expivia. We're fully AI-driven, as all of you know, and can handle voice, email, chat, and all of your digital channels. Our 600-seat USA contact center is expert in healthcare, financial services, insurance, tech support, retail, and more. Experts on the NICE CX1 platform, we ensure seamless customer experiences. DM me or visit expiviausa.com for more.
This is Advice from a Call Center Geek, a weekly podcast with a focus on all things call center. We'll cover it all from call center operations, hiring, culture, technology, and education. We're here to give you actionable items to improve the quality of yours and your customers' experience. This is an evolving industry with creative minds and ambitious people like this guy. Not only is his passion call center operations, but he's our host. He's the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing Group and the Call Center Geek himself, Tom Laird.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Advice from a Call Center Geek, the call center contact center podcast, where we try to give you some actionable items, take back in your contact center, improve the overall quality, hopefully improve your agent experience as well. Wow. So a lot of things have happened here in the last couple of days when it comes to customer experience. What has been some people's panacea has turned into maybe a bit of a nightmare when it comes to the airlines and some of the things that we have seen happen with the support models for some of these guys. I want to take the time to talk through some of that. And then also, what can some of the things you as a call center manager do when the crap hits the fan, right? When something goes wrong, maybe it's out of your control and your call just, they spike through the roof, and what can we do with some of those things? But let's start first with what happened with some of these airlines. So again, I've done some a little bit of research here. And yesterday, it was kind of a day off. We're still, we're taking calls, especially from retailers and things like that. But overall, was a little bit of a lighter day. So called Spirit, Allegiant, Delta, American, United, like 6 or 7 different airlines, and kind of talked through, or at least tried to find out how long their wait times were. And if you look at Frontier, right? Frontier, they got rid of their voice, right? And we can still argue if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I could not get anyone to chat with me at all, right? So there's a chat bot that comes on, again, ask those kind of preliminary questions, and then I just waited. It was 35 minutes. No one has come on. I let the chat go. Southwest is a whole total different animal. So Southwest, if you call them right now, they're fast busy. They're literally, their phone is just busy. Like it's almost unheard of with an organization like that. So did a little digging, posted some stuff on TikTok and posted some stuff on LinkedIn today. It seems like they're kind of throwing Avaya under the bus, right? So there's a statement that they kind of issued that says, they're working with their partner Avaya and with their technology team to kind of figure things out. We understand that, some weird things were happening on the platform when you finally got a hold of an agent. Things like drop calls were happening. Music would just suddenly appear, right? So all these things that were like, whoa, what's going on? And it just seems like they got overwhelmed. The platform just got totally overwhelmed. It seems like their only fix right now was to just limit interactions on the platform. So they must have something set up that's like, 5,000. So that we'll take 5,000 interactions, but the 5,001 interaction, it's just going to ring busy. So brutal, right? Brutal. I guess, kind of give credit. And again, let's put this into perspective. This is almost an unheard of thing, right? Over Christmas, right? Arguably the two beginning and end of Christmas, the two, or the days before and after, the two biggest flying days of all time, right? In the United States, an unprecedented storm that literally shut airports down. So again, I do have a little bit of understanding, I think. And again, if you look at American, United, Delta, they've done a pretty good job with this. Now, I know they haven't canceled 60% of their flights like Southwest did, but still, they have been able to weather the storm. So, some of their wait times were 41 to 50 minutes. I'm not saying that's great, but you knew how long you were going to wait for. You knew you were going to talk to a human, and they had virtual callbacks set up so you didn't have to wait in queue. I think it was tolerable and people could understand that. But the Southwest thing, people can't understand. The Frontier thing, people cannot understand. If you go on Twitter right now, it's kind of a bloodbath for those guys. Well, let's talk about what can we learn from this, and what are some things as a call center manager that you can do when you should be planning for, right? If you know, right, you are in an industry that at any time, it can all go to hell, right? You need to plan for that. It's kind of like, when you live on the ocean, you have to plan for that 100-year storm that comes through. Many organizations just kind of put their head in the sand and say, well, if that comes through, we'll deal with it for those couple of days. But I think you're finding with Southwest, this could have years of impact on their reputation. A reputation, honestly, that's pretty good, right? That they have built up as being very customer-centric, easy to work with, and they've built that brand. But again, it can all come tumbling down really fast when you're kind of unprepared. So here's some things that you need to think about when it comes to making sure, if you are a large call center, if you are in a large industry and you really can't be down, what are some things that you need to start to be planning for? And I think even as a smaller call center, we can take a lot of these kind of truths as well and kind of maybe implement into our contact center. So number one is platform reliability. I mean, it's not rocket science here. You're starting to see that certain organizations that used higher end telephony platforms, the nice CX1s, the Genesis, or even the TalkDesks, the 5.9s, like those guys, it seems like you need to have a very reliable platform that has been around for years. A lot of newer players into the space, not saying they're bad, but I just don't think there's a track record there for uptime and reliability that some of these kind of, it's funny talking about like old companies, but they're like, 6 years old, have been doing. The other thing that I think we can all learn from this is customer segmentation. Everybody thinks, or a lot of people think that, boom, it's just, the oldest call, gets answered last. And the one that's been waiting the longest, I should say that, let's take that back. The call that's been waiting the longest, right, is going to get answered first. And the call that just came in is going to get answered last. And a lot of times, yes, that could be true. That's kind of how it's set up. But for many of our clients and for these larger call centers, we're doing a ton of different things when it comes to routing calls, right? What are some things we can do? Number one is, this is why it's really, really important to integrate your phone system with your data source, and through some type of CTI, understand and be able to route and pull data from your CRM. Like, why is that important? Well, number one is we can segment our customers for specific things, like who needs help more, right? So if these airlines, if I have a ticket that I know just got, my flight was canceled, and that CRM is going to know that, right? It's going to have my name. It's going to have all my history. It's going to understand that, boom, this was tagged as a canceled flight. I go to the head of the line, right? If I'm flying in 3 days, right, I go to the bottom of the line. Specific things like high value customers, right? We can say that we like that or not, but there is something with status, when it comes with organizations and you're giving that organization more, you should probably expect a little bit more. Let's say you have, you're in that, 2 million mile club, right? Where you have just a ton of miles in status, your frequent flyer, those kind of things can bump you up to the front of the line, or at least can bump you up to that, maybe the first half or the top quarter, right? Depending on what they have. So we can do some things with status there. Having virtual callbacks, I think is really, really, really important, right? That technology is so easy to utilize now. There should be nobody that even a queue, if you have a 10-person queue, right, for maybe a smaller program, should still be an option for you to make sure that you can offer customers that they don't have to wait in queue. CTI integration is really important. It opens up so many doors for routing. I give this example all the time. We have a company that has, thousands of financial advisors, and we have a team, but this company wants our agents to answer like on behalf of whatever financial advisor this person has that is their customer. So we have all these, thousands of financial advisors who have thousands of different customers. So when a customer calls in, we know their Annie, we know their phone number. We then go and we find out what financial advisor is their financial advisor. And then our agent answers, "Thank you for calling Jim Smith's office," or, Susie Smith's, right? God, I got to get better names. A ton of things you can do if you're integrated. The art and the science of this thing is really cool. And again, looking at some integration work. All right. The other thing is overflow capabilities, right? Again, you're a large call center. If anything's going to hit the fan, you better have a partner that you can overflow to. And that's easier said than done, right? Because they have to be trained just as well as your agents. So kind of how we see overflow and how we do overflow is your call center, is doing your thing. We have a small group here relative to your size. I mean, small group could be 1,000 or 100 or 200 agents, right? But when you have 10,000 or 1,000, right, it's a much smaller size. But we will train, maybe 300 agents, right? And then we just keep rotating them through so that you're not paying for all of them, but everybody's kind of staying on board, and then we have them do some other things. But when we have to pull the trigger, right, boom, we can go up to 300 agents. We can scale it. They're all trained. They're ready to go, right? Whether you're overflowing nearshore, offshore, onshore, if you're a large call center, a lot of you need that. And even if you already have a BPO partner, right, to have 2 or 3 different partners, I think is really important. Because again, reliability and scalability are really, really, really important. Omnichannel, being full omnichannel is really important. Not to be able to force channels. I think you're seeing that with Frontier, right? Not even be able to force voice, but having voice, having email, having digital, right? I think all those things are really, really, really important. Some of the other things that maybe get a little bit out there are we need to be better as an industry of proactive customer support. We need to be telling customers when things are going wrong before they happen so that we can try to make plans for them. Having a team of outbound agents that can generate calls, emails, SMS texting, making sure that before things go wrong and we get inundated with calls on the inbound side, that we're trying our best to handle situations, on the outbound or on the proactive side. Self-service is so vitally important. I mean, you hear me talk down on self-service a lot, and I talk down on forcing self-service, right? Forcing self-service as your only channel is I think, a disaster. But when things go wrong, it can be the best savior that you have, right? If you have a very robust self-service model that those top 10 things that customers want to do, and maybe they can't do all 10, but 8 of them they can do on your platform from a self-service standpoint, and making sure that you can scale that is so important. And again, that's kind of part of your omni-channel strategy, but I think that's a really, really, really important deal. Scalability is also, again, we talk about it, scalability when it comes to your data, when it comes to your telephony, and when it comes to your agents. You have to be thinking that through at all times, because this isn't a black and white thing. You can go all over the board, even with seasonality. But when emergencies happen, you really gotta be there. So again, I think those are just some things that I think about. Really interesting kind of case study that's happening and playing out in real time with what's happening from a lot of these different service models. I'm sure there's going to be studies and some. I'm going to try to get some people on the podcast as well from like a Southwest or a Frontier, and talk through some of the things that they found out during this and what worked and what didn't work. So again, kind of interesting, but we'll see what happens. I appreciate you. Everybody have a great new year, and I'll talk to you in 2023. We'll talk.